Hey guys, welcome back. Two Brothers Off Script. I'm Ryan.
I'm Jerry.
And we're going to talk about some stuff and things, but some people only like stuff according to my Facebook. So I noticed a phenomenon recently, and it's something that I think everyone's seen at some point in time in their escapades, if they're driving their Escalades or whatever. I don't know, but just a joke. It's what I coined the double wave phenomenon.
Okay.
And
what is this?
To simplify this as much as possible, you pull up to a stop, and let's say you don't know for sure that it's your time, like you didn't really pay attention in traffic school, so you don't know right-of-ways. Well, right-of-way means the person on the right gets to go first if you both arrive at the same time. Very simple. You, being what you would consider a nice person, you reach up over your steering wheel and you say, "Go ahead." And they look right back at you and they say, "Go ahead." And you just said, okay, so I'm acknowledging you have the right of way. You are clearly in the right-hand side, coining the term right of way. Go. They wait. They give you 2 seconds, then the wave, then wait 5 more seconds, and you're just sitting there going, "Isn't it your turn? I said go. You didn't want to go." And then four more cars have showed up at that point. So everybody's screwing everybody.
That's terrible.
So the idea here is, when you are trying to be nice to someone, like if you're paying it forward or backwards, as it actually is at a Starbucks line, or you're giving somebody the double wave, don't try to out-nice other people. You know, if someone pays you a compliment, the other day, I go to the post office, I do this after work, drop off a package. Lucky me, I get to sell some stuff online every once in a while, pay seller fees. It's not as much of a market as it used to be, but anyways, I go and drop off a package at the post office, and I'm walking out through the main door. There's no other way in. There's 4 doors there. And I see a guy coming. He's holding a package. And it doesn't look like a heavy package. Doesn't look like anything this man can't handle on his own, being a man and all that. And I hold the door. I actually go out the door and hold it open for him to pass by me and go in. I'm just being, nice person, I'll hold the door for some guy. It's like, no thanks. Or he didn't even say no thanks. He just said, "No, I'll go through this one." And it's just he's an older guy, probably in his 40s or something like that. And I'm like, are you being threatened somehow? Am I somehow threatening your masculinity?
It's so weird.
Because I held the door open for you? Like, I wasn't calling you a woman. Maybe sometime in his early developmental age, he said, his dad was sitting him down and he says, "Don't ever let another man hold the door open for you. That makes you a woman." I don't know what it is in his head, but I was taken quite back by it, because he just gave me this look, but it was dismissive at the same time as being condescending, and it's like, I don't understand.
What's the thought process?
What's the thought process there? So, if you're going to be nice, be nice. Try to do it on a daily basis. Some people call it their random act of kindness or whatever. And that's nice, but don't go out of your way to create a random act of kindness. It's not really random, so you can get the props or get the soul points or whatever you want to call it. Be nice as a general rule.
Sure.
And not so much as a way to get those points or whatever, but also learn how to accept kindness, even if you don't necessarily want it. Giving someone the right of way, or trying to help somebody at work, and you're like, "Let me show you how to do it," in a way that might make it easier for you. Some people take that they get kind of offended. I thankfully work with some people who don't mind me saying, like, here's an alternate way, maybe the way I do it. Might not be better, but it can't possibly be worse than what you're doing. So why wouldn't you at least consider it? You don't have to do anything, I say. I'm an adult now, I don't need people to give me advice necessarily because I made it this far, but I might be willing to listen if the conversation did turn to where someone was trying to tell me how to do something. I could possibly just try and listen, but not necessarily say, no thanks, I don't need that. Like wait till they leave the room and then just like, that guy's an idiot. I'm not.
So it's a really strange problem. I had never thought of it as kind of like the double wave, but I had this happen. I just got back from Texas this week. I was down there for some training in Dallas, and we went out to dinner. Our mom lives in Texas, and so I was meeting up with them and our other brother, and we were all kind of hanging out. And I held the door open for this family that was coming up, and there was an older woman and an older man there, and naturally, for me, it's very natural to try to hold the door open as our team went in, and our group went in, and I was like, and the guy looked at me and he said, "No, we've got it. Oh, you go first, right? Well, I'm holding the door open for them, and you go first." And I guess I can understand at the stoplight why you wave somebody on, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's much more of like almost a trust issue.
Yeah.
Because I've had those situations where you wave somebody on.
They go a little bit, and then they stop.
Right, and so then you go, and then they start to go. So I can understand why sometimes people get weird about it.
Right.
But if somebody's holding the door open for you, like your experience, I don't understand the thought process there. I don't know if it was like, well, you gestured, and so that's enough that you gestured to hold the door open. I don't know why you would turn that down. I just don't understand it. Like, I'm not trying to trick you.
Maybe he really wanted.
Is there some scam?
Magically opens the door for disabled people, so you can feel like a Jedi,
But is there some scam where you hold the door open for somebody and really you're
Steal
about to
wallet,
rob? Yeah,
run away.
I don't know.
Grab their purse and run.
I don't know what the issue is there. I think that we. What the thing that you said that really kind of caught me is we don't know how to take people being kind to us sometimes.
Right.
We can have people legitimately go out of their way to try to do a nice thing for me or for you or whoever, and we react to it in a way that's poor. Yeah. So it kind of makes me think like I need to be more aware of what you're talking about. I need to be more aware of this issue of not overlooking somebody's effort of kindness. And I don't know what the universal symbol for thanks is, but
it's just a wave. It's you pass.
Sure.
Somebody lets you into traffic when it's clearly a jam, but for whatever reason, everybody just kind of zips by you. But then, I'm going to say this, I do it too. I don't let a lot of people in because I feel like, and it all depends on the situation, I feel like I'm enacting some sort of justice, like, I believe very strongly that if the light is green, do not stop and let someone in. If the light is green. If the light is turned, leave a gap. Especially if you pull up to an intersection, technically that's the law. Because if an emergency vehicle comes up and you're blocking the intersection, you're breaking the law.
What is your thought? What's the reason though why if it's green you don't let people in?
You stop traffic. You stop everyone behind you to let one person in going the same direction as you, and there is clearly a gap in the back. It's not, I got here first, I win, you lose. It's, I am trying to save the 50 other people behind me time.
That's
because logical. The person that pulls out, right, the speed at which you can travel, unless you are a NASCAR driver or you're on a Ducati or something, you're not going to pull out quick enough and catch up with traffic in which I can catch up behind you and we can keep the whole process moving. So let's say we're all coming to a nice red, right? And I know there's 3 intersections out here in our neighborhood. There is a Rite Aid. Everybody's going in to get their pharmacy prescription filled. But it's a double lane, so you can't cross very easily. There's a center turn lane, and there's 5 other ways to get in. You can go the long way, go through Home Depot, blah, blah, blah. But you can't, the light to go across the main intersection is so long that if you wait, I want to say like a couple of minutes or whatever, you're doing a normal wait time. So I stop with at least 3 car lengths in front of me because people need to cut across from the Rite Aid to go into the turn lane to make a left. People need to come across that way and go through and go into the Rite Aid. There is it's a really heavy mini intersection that doesn't really exist. So I try to create that space, especially because it's on my way home. It's 3 blocks away. I do not need to rush.
Sure.
And I can let that happen. But if it was green, and that person is sitting there trying to turn, they're clearly not going anywhere. They're going to their destination, which is in their time frame that they set out for themselves. But if somebody's late to work or something like that, and they jam up there and they're trying to block me from getting in, your 1 car difference isn't going to make that much of a difference. But if the light's already green and I stop 20 other people from getting to work on time,
that's a big deal.
I'm a jerk.
Yeah.
So you're sitting behind
sense.
people in traffic. Somebody stops to let one minivan full of 1 person in, literally 1 person, because they already dropped their kids off at school and they just want to drive on home. But somebody decided to, random act of kindness, get on in there, you stopped me from getting to work on time. You stopped me, and I should have left earlier. Well, why? I have a perfect schedule. I don't need other people to screw me up on mine.
So, why do you think that people are
traffic related today?
Well, sure, but really the bigger issue there is that, sometimes when you do something that's intentionally trying to be nice, letting somebody in, what you're really doing is you're harming more people than you're helping.
Exactly.
And sometimes when you see kindness, somebody holds a door open for you, somebody waves for you to pass through the traffic, instead of just accepting that kindness.
I was thinking that whole door thing was an isolated incident, but yours is...
No, it was exactly the same as what you were describing. So I feel like one of the ways you can be respectful to senior citizens, to your elders, is to do nice things for your elders.
Right.
Very intentionally, to recognize that they're your elders. I have the same view in general. Certainly I would hold a door open for a guy with a package, but I would also more predominantly be willing to open the door up for a female who is walking up.
Well, that everyone calls that chivalry, right?
They do, but it's a custom or it's courtesy or whatever it is. It's not anything but trying to be extra kind, absolutely based on the gender of the person that's walking towards me.
Yeah, I definitely say that I hold it open for a woman random or someone I know, or if you're going to the same place, why not? But this is not anything nothing's worse than saying you in somebody else's eyes. I'm not saying I did anything, but I held the door open for someone, and the woman basically approached me afterwards oh, well, you must be a really nice guy. I should try something. Nothing ever happened, right? This is a long time ago, and I don't want to offend anybody and get my wife jealous. But I held the door open for a woman specifically because she was a woman, not because she couldn't get the door, and there was no intent for anything to happen. But for some reason that, chivalry isn't dead, this guy's a nice guy, maybe he's a keeper or something like that. I don't know what the thought process there was, but does it happen so rarely?
I guess it must. I guess it must. I think though, but I've seen the opposite, okay? I know people who
try to get...
No. So this is judgmental on my part. If it works for your relationship, awesome. I'm not going to judge your relationship. What I'm saying though is I've seen people do this, okay? The same door opening thing where I've seen a woman sit in a car and the man gets out and they're getting kids or they're getting stuff out of the back or whatever it is, and the woman will sit in the car and wait for them to come around and open the door for them.
Right.
And
every day's a prom.
Or I've seen, hey, it's really, really cold, right? And you're rushing to get to the car, and I've seen the person stand outside of the car door and wait to be let into the car. And I see that almost as there's this, to me, and I guess there's this just difference for me of somebody doing something as an act of kindness
And somebody
versus
expecting
somebody very like physically demonstrating that somehow there's this unmet expectation. Like in my mind, I don't expect anybody to ever hold the door open for me.
Right.
You know, I ask. If I'm carrying a heavy box and somebody's coming in, I'll ask, hey, can you hold the door open?
Right.
It's very deliberate.
Close the elevator before they can get in. You know?
I do that a lot. I'll hold the elevator
I
open.
was saying close it. Close it.
So it's interesting to me that this whole issue of courtesy and how we all perceive that and how it's different for each of us can be at the same time attractive in that situation we're talking about. It can be courteous. It can be rebuffed. Somebody can try to one-up you with their kindness over your kindness. It can be offensive somehow. It can be ignored. The exact same thought process of kindness. Waving somebody through an intersection and holding an elevator or opening a door, it's the same thought process. It's you before me.
Right.
Let me sacrifice a small amount of my time or my effort or my energy to be kind to someone else. And to have so many different reactions to that same idea.
I guess you could judge the environment you're in based on the reaction to certain kindnesses. Like, I wonder who the last person is, one of those pay it forward things. Like, who doesn't pay it forward. You know, like, there's always the possibility, I'm gonna get the person $5 behind me or whatever. You know, like, if there's nobody behind you, what do you do? You can't give them $5, technically. I don't know. Or be the last person in line and not pay it forward, or
well, maybe that's the lesson.
Maybe
That's the lesson, though, is we can all advocate trying to do a little bit more. I don't know how much I buy into the whole financial element of it. I understand why people do it. I've been in a situation where I've tried to give money to people at Christmas. One of the things that happened at the church one time that we were going to was there was this, here's $20, go out and give this $20 to someone else. And so I remember I was going out and I felt very nervous about doing this, and I went out to a Target or something like that, and I was going to give this money away. And I tried 3 different people to give them money and say Merry Christmas, and I got turned down. I got turned down 3 times in a row. And the 4th person took it. And I was like, I'm thinking to myself now as I look back on that, I remember being so just I don't know, just so, I guess,
Would
disappointed.
you say you were offended?
No, I was just disappointed that to your point, I'm making this effort to be kind.
You thought it would be easy to give away money?
I guess. I thought it would be easy. I mean, I thought it would be... I thought it would be nice, but...
You could give somebody their key to happiness in a sentence, or you could write somebody $1 million check. Everything you do for someone else, there's a few people in the world that won't look at something and say, what's the attachment to this? What strings, are attached to this? And it doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way that they view the world, is it's against them, but everyone. If you try to give me $20 right now, the first thing I would say is, what's this for? What did I do? How did I get this courtesy? How did I get this money from you? When there was no aforementioned, you need $20 from the next person who comes down the line. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to get the $20. That's awesome. But I don't expect things like that to happen.
Right.
So when it does happen, there's a little bit of me that's like, what's...
Well, I think
is, should I take this money? Is this a test? Am I on a game show?
Well,
am I getting pranked?
We're also at a point in our society, though, where a stranger approaching you can be, potentially scary. We don't necessarily know what the intentions are of people when they approach us. A lot of times when people approach me in a parking lot, they're asking me for money. Yeah. They're asking me they just need $5 for gas, just this one time.
Sure. How often do you indulge?
It's changed a lot. I've had a couple of times now where I remember one time I was holding my daughter, one of my daughters, and I was at a Best Buy, and I was in the process of pulling her out of the car seat to carry her, and I had just kind of got her into my arms, and I turned around, and this guy had come up behind me.
Right, in your bubble now.
And he was still probably 6 or 7 feet away.
Too close.
But he was already asking for money, and because I didn't see him and I had been kind of startled, I almost immediately went into this very defensive mode of this person is approaching me, and I have my daughter, and I felt worried for her. And in my brain, I start to run this scenario of I'm
going to take him down.
How do I
swing her, kick him in the face?
How do I kung fu kick this guy back out into the parking lot and get him away from my daughter? And he's like, well, sir, I just want to approach you. And I was offended.
Right.
Like, right after I became angry, slightly startled, and then angry, and then really angry of, can you not see that I have my daughter here?
Right.
Back off.
Yeah.
And I was very, I was ready to fight.
Right.
At that point. So I've had some of those kind of negative situations where I've been approached by people who are very hostile or very insistent or would follow me. Mm-hmm. And certainly you read about stories of people being mugged in a parking lot or approached, or, make sure you've got your keys out and you can get into your car and get out of your car quickly.
Yeah, don't walk to your car in a dark parking lot with your keys in your purse and look for your keys when you get to your car. Have your keys ready to go, ladies.
I've seen people in parking lots doing drugs, and I've seen people in parking lots who appeared to be, not there for a good reason. Mm-hmm. So you see these kinds of things happen in your society, and you kind of go, okay, I'm going to now change the way that I view these things as an expectation. Another courtesy that I kind of notice is not really practiced anymore. I don't know if you've seen this, but so we grew up basically in a suburban area.
Right.
But we also had kind of a strong connection to what I would say were rural areas. Our grandparents lived up on a farm, and we had the family wheat farm, and so we kind of traveled through some of these areas. And one of the things I always remember happening is you would drive down one of these country roads, you got the steering wheel, you do the wave.
Right.
Right? Somebody's coming the other direction, you just kind of wave. You don't necessarily know them.
Right.
But you're saying, hey, there's another traveler on the road, right?
Right.
Hi. And most of the time, that person would wave back. And that seems to have basically disappeared.
Because we don't want to see other people unless we're intentionally looking for this other person. Someone trying to interact with you in your bubble, especially in the car where you are king of the road. You do not want that interaction. Generally, as it's a gut reaction to say, as long as I am in control of this space, I don't need anything else. Because in all reality, it is the only space in your world that you have some control over.
Sure.
There's too many things that can happen. But in your car, you're at more risk for accident now. But all these side airbags and everything, everybody thinks that they're invincible now, so they drive insane or cut you off.
I just had this thought too. I think we can tie this back to we had the episode a few weeks ago, don't take a selfie at a car wreck.
Right.
I think there's a connection there, right? Of the way that we view kindness and obligation to other people within our society. If somebody's hurt, go help them. If somebody's hurt, go help them. If somebody is waving to you, wave back. If somebody is holding the door open for you, say thank you and go through. If somebody is doing you kindness, accept the kindness and then move on with your life and have a little bit of a better day and maybe try to pass that kindness on to somebody else.
Yeah, that's what they show in the commercials, is that the guy gets a Coke in the beginning or something like that, and after he's got his Coca-Cola, his smile translates into world peace or something like that. I don't know how that works.
It seems a long stretch for Coke.
Yeah, well, it's a butterfly, The butterfly effect. Just in case. There's no shortage of time until you are out of time. So try to make every effort in your life to help the people that may or may not be able to affect how much time you have left? That would be my final thought on that.
I agree. Let's switch it up. We've kind of talked about a bunch of the ways that this can go wrong. Right? What for you are some times where random kindness from others went right? How did that make you feel to be on the receiving of that?
Well, if someone ever gave me what I would consider a random act of kindness, like other than the go ahead, wave through, I don't honestly think I experienced that many. I get a lot of people. It's just in my world, there's so many more takers, I don't see a lot of it. It's unfortunate, but I still feel in some ways that I have, the ability to keep it going. I'm not that jaded against it now, but, if someone comes up to me in the parking lot, generally, I always assume, sorry, you're on drugs and you've made bad decisions. And if they look worse than they are, I'm less likely to give them the money. If you are holding a dog, at a corner, why do you have an animal?
Right.
Like a shelter would be a better place for that animal, honestly, because if you can't keep yourself under a roof, how are you taking care of another living creature? So I make that judgment all the time now. When I was a kid, I tried to give money away. I tried to. And I actually got rebuked by, I don't know if it was mom or dad, but someone told me, don't give them any money because they're probably on drugs, the pot, or whatever it was at the time. I don't know. But, you can't. I will continue to try to help people in minor ways like that. I will not go out of my way, however, because I have too many things to lose now. I will not let someone come to my house. I will not give a hitchhiker a ride.
Sure.
It doesn't matter. I think that women hitchhikers are more dangerous than male hitchhikers. I have a feeling that the woman is on the side of the road as a trap. She's I'm supposed to pull over and give her a ride because she's a woman, and she's gonna stab me right in the throat. And we're gonna crash and burn, and she's gonna take my $12 out of my wallet. I don't know what.
Terrible.
That's my thought process. I'd rather give a guy a male hitchhiker a ride than a woman. But I don't anyone at this point.
So I guess
weird theory, I guess.
I guess my boundary has really been I feel like I still try to hold the door open for people. I still do the wave at the intersection. Mm-hmm. I've certainly given money to people who were down on their luck. I've given money to people that we've known who needed help with bills and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
my
totally
biggest change has been, to your point, I won't let people stay at the house anymore. My wife and I have tried a couple of times to try to let people stay with us, mm-hmm. And it's almost always gone very, very badly.
Right.
In terms of that interaction in the long-term relationship, and that's something that I now view as kind of unwise for me to ever do again. So I think that I've been on the receiving end of people who genuinely helped me out. I've been on the receiving end of people, who we knew. Who we had one guy in Colorado. We got in a car wreck, and he drove through a blizzard to help pick up me and the kids, and then we drove back through the blizzard to get my car.
Good friend.
And I drove back through the blizzard to get my wife and our other daughter from the hospital. And so I've been in situations where I've had people really stick themselves out there for me, drive more than 30 miles to help me, as we talked about a couple episodes ago. So I think that it's the right thing to do. It's a better way to live your life. But my final thought, I guess, would just be don't ignore that. Yeah. When people are being kind to you, and don't take offense to their kindness, even if you have a good reason, I guess. Understand that maybe your reason is not always clear to other people, and really try to look for those opportunities to help other people and live a better life because of it. Mm-hmm. So I suppose we'll end about there. Anything else you wanted to say?
I got coffee in my cup.
Oh yeah, we're running coffee in the cup tonight.
Yeah.
Classic Darth Vader.
Yeah.
This evening. So guys, thanks so much for watching. This was a good one.
Yeah.
Respect the kindness of other people.
Always. I mean, we can't keep a nice world without constantly trying to make it nicer. And it's okay to let people in.
Absolutely.
But just understand and look at your surroundings before, like, if you're going to save the world, try to save the nearby world or what's immediately around you. If you got a rearview mirror, look back before you stop. If you want to let somebody in, you're the only person on the road, feel free. So that's it.
All right,
for
guys.
tonight. So come back, check us out next time. Subscribe, please. Like it if you did, and leave a comment and all that fun stuff that we're not supposed to talk about. But we're going to anyway.
We're going to.
Pander away.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a great week.
We'll see you next time.